It began with a scream that wasn't quite a scream, more like the sound of heartbreak trying to find its way out. The train station was nearly empty that cold November morning. Just the sound of pigeons, the rolling echo of luggage wheels, and the whistle of a faraway engine. Then came her voice. "You have no home, and I no mother." Heads turned. On the far end of the platform, a little girl no older than 8 stood with her fists clenched, eyes red from crying. Across from her stood a black woman, mid-30s maybe, wearing a faded green coat and holding a small duffel bag like it carried the last of her life. The woman froze. The child trembled. For a moment, they stared at each other, two souls who shouldn't have known each other, yet somehow looked connected. The people at the station kept walking, pretending not to notice. But one old man sitting near the ticket booth whispered, "That woman's been sleeping here for a week." And so begins our story, with a child who had everything taken from her and a woman who had nothing left to lose. Just 12 hours earlier, that same woman, her name was Ruth Ellis, had been sitting on the same bench, wrapping herself in a worn-out blanket that smelled faintly of detergent and rain. Once, Ruth had a home, a husband, a son. But a fire, started by a faulty heater in their apartment, had taken them both. Since then, she'd wandered from shelter to shelter, her only possessions the Bible she carried and the blanket that had covered her son the night he died. She came to the station not to beg, but because it was the only place open 24 hours where no one asked questions. But that night, as she closed her eyes, she heard soft sobs from the corner near the vending machine. A little girl, sitting alone, hugging a teddy bear so tight it looked like she was trying to keep it from running away. Ruth hesitated. "You've lost enough," she thought. "Don't get involved." But grief recognizes grief, and sometimes silence becomes unbearable. So she slowly approached and said softly, "Hey, sweetheart, are you lost?" The girl didn't look up. "I'm waiting for my mom," she whispered. Hours passed. The last train came and went. The girl's mother never arrived. And as dawn broke, Ruth realized something she hadn't felt in years: the instinct to protect someone again. Ruth bought the girl breakfast with the last few dollars she had. The child finally told her name, Sophie. She'd been traveling with her mother from Chicago to Los Angeles when her mom went to get coffee during a stop in St. Louis and never came back. Authorities were contacted, announcements made, but no one came for her. The staff assumed someone would claim her soon. No one did. Ruth offered to wait with her. But when a social worker arrived, the girl screamed, clinging to Ruth's coat instead. "Don't let them take me." It broke something inside Ruth. She looked the worker dead in the eye and said, "I'll stay with her until someone finds her family." For the next few days, Ruth and Sophie became inseparable. They laughed, told stories, and shared fries from the station diner. Sophie even started calling her Miss R. But one afternoon, when Ruth tried brushing Sophie's hair, the girl snapped, pulling away, shouting words that stabbed deeper than any knife. "You're not my mother. You don't even have a home." The entire diner went silent. Ruth froze, eyes glistening, lips trembling. And then Sophie whispered, barely audible, "And I have no mother either." That was the moment Ruth realized they weren't two broken people trying to survive. They were each other's second chance. Ruth decided to help find Sophie's real mother. She visited police stations, shelters, even local hospitals. Each time, she hoped, prayed, someone had seen her. Nothing. But then one officer recognized Ruth. "Aren't you the woman who lost her family in the apartment fire last year?" She nodded quietly. The officer sighed. "Ma'am, I don't know if you're looking for this girl's mom or for your son." That night, Ruth sat awake beside Sophie, watching her sleep on a bench under the flickering station lights. She whispered, "Maybe we're both waiting for ghosts." Just then, a woman ran into the station, disheveled, panicked, yelling Sophie's name. Her eyes found the child, and she collapsed in tears. It was Sophie's mother, alive, frantic, and desperate. Ruth froze as mother and daughter reunited. It was beautiful, but it also tore her apart. Because in that moment, Ruth knew her part in Sophie's story was over. The next morning, Sophie woke up to find Ruth gone. In her place was a folded piece of paper tucked under the teddy bear. It read, "You once said I have no home, and you have no mother. Maybe that's true for now, but remember this, Sophie. Home isn't a place. It's a person who stays until you're safe. And you made me feel at home again. Love, Miss R." Sophie wept, clutching the note to her chest. Years later, a grown-up Sophie stood at a train station with her daughter, waiting for their ride. In her hands was an old, creased note, the same one she'd kept all these years. She turned to her little girl and said softly, "When you meet someone lost, don't walk away. Sometimes, helping them find their way helps you find yours." And as the train rolled in, the camera pans down to show a small plaque near the bench. In memory of Ruth Ellis, she made this station a home.